the Wobus. I called Jimmy the Wobus because Wobus in Polish means mischief. And Jimmy is mischief. It's up to all sorts of mischief. It is this sticky dog, isn't it? Come and join me, mate. Come on, hodge next to me. Hodge up, pop up. Where's your good boy? So hello. Today, I'd like to take a look at this book. One of my favourite of all British comedy actors, Sid James, who was actually a South African, but he lived from early on in his life. He started off as actually a hairdresser, well, a boxer. He was first a boxer, a pugilist, and then he was a hairdresser in South Africa, and then he came over to England quite early on. I think in the sort of very early, late 40s or early 50s, and tried his luck at being an actor, which he was immeasurably successful in. So there he is. He arrives in 1946. So I got that right. And I found him immeasurably funny. He was affiliated to sort of a series of films called the Carry On films, which aren't to everyone's cup of taste. They're not everyone's bag of fish, as a friend of mine used to say. But this was a book I actually bought when I was living in Ealing, so it was quite exciting to find. And it was first run in the Daily Mirror, I think, as a sort of sections of it were put into the Daily Mirror. So that's Renee James, who I believe was his mum, or Reenie, even I think you might pronounce that. Is it Reenie? Sorry, I'm laughing because there's a phrase in where I'm from in London. There's a phrase called an old Reenie is like an old woman, oh look, I'm ripping the pages out. I've got to be careful because I'm clumsy and I can spoil things. So there's Sid's original name, Solly Cohen. His real name was. He was born to a Jewish family in South Africa, and there he is in Johannesburg in repertory with another fella called Sidney Whitkin. So he was obviously into the drama, into the acting. Meg Williams, so she followed Sid into the army. That was his partner, and they married. That was his first wife. They married in 1943, and there's Sid performing in Noel Coward's Red Peppers with Meg, with his wife. So Corporal James he was in North Africa, a concert party tour of North Africa. So he obviously was into the what's it called? I can't remember. I'm not going to. There was an entertainment corps that the army had. Entertainment services, I think they were called, something like that. And they used to provide entertainment for the soldiers and what have you. And there he is. With obviously doing a comedy stint, and there he is as a boxer, a bar and brawler. It says in reality. Okay, well he did box though. Maybe he was a bar and brawler as well. But yeah, he's great. Once a jolly swagman. He did a lot of work for the Ealing Film Studios, which is back now. When I lived in Ealing, it was closed, or it was just a post-production house. But it's now been reopened, and it's a famous studio in the UK. So that's Sydney and Meg, and with their daughter. So another Reenie. So obviously they like that name. But he had an affair with an actress called Valerie Ashton, and obviously that brought tears to Meg's eyes, and they split up, unfortunately. He was a big gambler, old Sid James. He was always gambling. In reality, he was a man of gambling, and in fact, it really did probably impoverish him to a point, because he was earning quite a good salary, I suppose, as an actor, and a lot of it went on the old GGs, So that's Sid with his next wife, Valerie Ashton. And there he is in Australia making some sort of movie with Robin Hood or something. And there he is with the famous Carry On films. I mean, whenever I see that face, I just can't help but hear his laugh. You know, that it was brilliant. You know, and it just made for great fun. And that's the whole Carry On cast. There are so many famous faces I can see. So many famous faces. Straight away you can see Barbara Babs Windsor, Sid James, Kenneth Williams. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. June Whitfield's poking her head above the back there. Bernie Bresslaw. So many faces there that I recognise straight away. This girl was in Bless This House with Sid as well. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Very pretty girl. I used to fancy her when I was a kid. She was in a show called Bless This House. There's Charles Hawtrey. Brilliant. Really cool. And this is... I can highly recommend this book. Sid James by Cliff Goodwin. That's Cliff himself. That's the writer. He's done quite a few good books. And he did one about Ollie Reed, which was a very, very good book as well. So there you go. Yeah. I used to live not far from Sid. Well, not at the same time, mind you. He lived in Ealing, as I say. It was on the South Circular Road, and I lived in Ealing Common with my first wife when she was doing very well at the time, and we had quite a bit of money to spare, and I was doing pretty good myself because I was still sort of messing about in boats, as it were. Well, I was a paramedic at that point. I was out just doing okay, and ultimately, yeah, we had this house, and there was a blue plaque on the wall where Sid lived. There was a blue plaque on this. It was a 1930s property. Can't remember the name of the road now itself, but it's South Circular. And then he moved to, excuse me, he moved to a place called Ivor Heath. He did, didn't he, mate? He had a house built there on the grounds of an older place, and it was a lovely. Well, it looked a bit odd actually. One of his mates commented it looked a bit like Golders Green crematorium, but well, I've seen it. It's all right. It was a millionaire's mansion, you know, modern-esque sort of thing. But anyway, that's the video for today. I hope you found it of some interest, and all the very best wishes. Cheers. Thanks. Bye for now. Cheers.